Hi class, my name is Faith Varner, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of the horse. Horse has been around for nearly 50 million years. Throughout this time, they played a significant role not only in my life and career, but in serving and aiding the humans in the development of the world that we live in today. As many of you guys know, horses have been my whole world ever since I can remember. For the last 15 years, I've been pursuing and learning everything I can about them. I even decided to go to college for them. I believe that in order to excel in any career and be a part of creating any new future, it is vital to know the history and past of said career. There's no better place to start in the beginning. The Eohippus was the first known horse. They lived in North America and Europe during the part of the Eocene epoch and stood at 30 to 60 centimeters high at the shoulder. Their hind ends were longer than their forelimbs. They had a lightly constructed body with 4 toes in the front and 3 in the back. The Eohippus in later evolutions, such as Aliohippus, Meryhippus, simply just existed because with no real purpose but providing meat for other animals than early humans. So the first evidence of domestication. First evidence of domestication was found in the western part of the Eurasian steppes with the Botai culture. This location had shards of pottery with traces of bear's milk, mass grave sites of horses, and evidence of round pens which would capture horses were kept in. Now, if you've ever been around or seen a wild horse, you know there's no way possible to milk a mare or any wild horse without having a connection and bond with them. Because of this concept and DNA tests, it has been approved that the remaining residue in the pottery from the Botai culture was in fact mare's milk, and they were the first people to domesticate them. So the Celtic migration. Celtic migration. So the people of this culture and time period would use modern day Shetland ponies, which are actually only 2 feet tall, even though they look like big beasts in these pictures. The main purpose of horses in this time period were hunting, warfare, riding, a symbol of wealth, and religious purposes such as sacrificing and burial. So a lot of high public figures and rich people or kings would be buried with their horses because it was believed that they would go up to heaven with them if they were buried with them. Greek war and myths. So not during this time period, not many horses lived on the land because they were extremely expensive to take care of, but the limiting numbers made them special. They were used mainly for sport, hunting, and military campaigns. And around 1500 BC, horses were brought in to pull chariots for war and took another 6 centuries for warriors to ride into battle. Horses were linked to Greek gods such as Poseidon, who was said to bring the first horse into the world, and many other stories and historical events such as the Trojan horse. Horses were vital to daily Roman life for means of transport, cultural value, and financial value. It was said that the ability to train and ride horses showed your courage, self-control, and mastery of the wild. Like every culture, Romans used horses in battle. They would use specific routines to help them from the horse's speed and efficiency. Chariot racing was a huge part of this culture. Some chariot races had religious ties, or others were held for purpose of reenacting war stories or simply for entertainment. Medieval times. So there was a variety of work horses were used during medieval ages. They carried equipment and belonging from places to place, hunting, pleasure, agricultural work, and war. The most memorable, though, was jousting. Jousting was when 2 knights, fully decked out in very heavy armor, charged at each other on horseback with wooden lances. The goal was to hit the other rider as hard as possible in hopes of breaking the lance or the opponent's shield or jousting armor, or if possible, unhorsing him. Jousting tournaments were an important opportunity for heroic display, general pageantry, and for the chance to unite to impress an aristocrat lady who was shown favor by giving a scarf or veil. This is one of the most famous events in horse history. Horses returned to America. So in 1519, Hernan Cortez was the one to reintroduce horses to the American continents where they had recently died out. The Battle of Salento was the first battle on American continents where horses were used in combat. When horses returned to the grasslands, they helped Plains Indians reshape their culture overnight. So the horses that got loose from Hernan Cortez's first initial 50 horses were captured by the Indians, which brings us to our next time point, the Native Americans and their horses. So the natives got a hold of the Spanish horses and claimed them as their own. These horses were a game changer for them. They soon replaced dogs as a pack animal. This enabled people to transport many more goods than they were initially transporting. They also helped with hunting and made Native Americans can now chase down buffalo and other prey animals for their meat and hide. Many tribes started to rely so strongly on horses that they completely abandoned agriculture as a whole and focused on full-time equestrian hunting. So during the Civil War, there was an estimated 1,500,000 horses and mules that were killed or died of disease. Horses became targeted more than enemy combats because without horses, artillery became passive objects of heavy metal. Without mounts, it was nearly impossible to transport and or move anything. Sorry. This is basically the same in World War II, except there was an estimated, I think, 500,000 horses that had died. Horses were not only just a means of transportation and used for war in this, people actually started to grow strong connections and bonds with them that they opened up. They opened up hospitals and things such as that to help the horses. And yeah, it was basically like a best friend for the soldiers in the war. And they took extremely good care of them. They even had pamphlets and books on how to take care of them that they were required to read. So horses today are used in 3 of the Olympic events, show jumping, cross country, and dressage. They're also used for things such as hunter jumpers, which is what I do, Western riding, vaulting, and many other sports. But they're also used for things such as therapy riding and therapeutic riding for special needs kids or amputees, like people like that. They're also just a companion, sign of wealth, again, kind of, not really, but yeah. So they basically went from courageous war heroes to giant puppy dogs is what we're seeing here. In conclusion, from now on, you should not think of horses just under any animal or to be afraid of. We have to thank them for their countless battles, years worth of shows, entertainment, companionship, and something to be cherished. I hope you learned something from this, even though horses have nothing to do with your life. It's very interesting to know. And I know I just went over 50 million years of history in the most briefest sense ever, but hopefully you learned something. And yeah, thank you very much.